All right. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, y'all, because an hour just it doesn't even seem like it's enough time. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started, and I definitely want to honor everybody's time for being here today. We want to thank you so much for joining us as we talk about health. And so we're going to be talking about different aspects of health. We have some general questions that we're going to address, but we have a financial aspect about this health as well as physical with two of our panelists. One of our panelists, unfortunately, her spouse is having a procedure done, and so she is unable to join us this morning. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Just want to thank you guys for being here. This is Women's History Month, and this event is really sponsored through America's Supermom Company. This is about finding ways that women can learn how to collaborate and talk about real topics in order for them to win, not just in March, but always. So I'm Lachelle Atkins, also known as America's Supermom. I'm the mother of 15 children and I am a mental health strategist. I have my degree in marketing, but one of the things that happened for me was that I went through 13 years of depression, three hospitalizations, and now I help women to learn how to navigate life, usually with their brand in a way that it doesn't lead to burnout, overwhelm, stress, so that they can shine in the media, all the different ways that they can be visible with their brand. So I first want to welcome everybody, remind you to put your contact information in the chat. This is a lunch hour type time for some people, so they may not be able to be on camera, but please put your contact information in the chat. This is all about women, so if you have any events or some different ways that you want us to support you, please put that in the chat. This whole idea behind these weekly calls was spearheaded with my partnership with Mike Asherbranner. He has his own community called the Hounds of Business, and we are collaborating on weekly events in order for us to move the needle forward for helping women to learn how to collaborate rather than compete, and also to address a lot of the struggles that keeps them from winning in business and life. And so we are having these events every Wednesday. In the morning, I have a master class, and in the evening, he has a live stream. At the end of the month, we're hosting a Zoom call on March 26th from 2 to 4 for everybody to come, invite whoever, because it's all about building our network and aligning with people that have like-minded goals and aspirations when it comes to helping everybody win. So She Wins March is the hashtag, and it is all around focus. So the acronym for focus is creating opportunities for fellowship, coming together with real conversations. Uh, I say open conversations because a lot of times we hide. Well, I can only speak for myself. I hid behind a mask of what I thought I should be saying, how I should be feeling, what I should be doing. And a lot of how I was really feeling was covered up and buried and caused my own problems in the long run. The C is all about collaborations. I was an only child, so I learned to do a lot on my own. And it wasn't until I really opened up to collaborate with other people that my business grew, connections grew, and my impact grew. The U is unique viewpoints. You know, not everybody is the same. So we welcome people to share their insights because that's how we all grow. Not everybody learns the same way, not everybody thinks the same way. And so we really want you to be able to shine in your own unique way. And then the last thing is shared growth. Just being in the room allows us to be around different people that can share different things and before we know it, everybody is growing and moving in a different direction. So, what's in it for you as we think about Women's History Month? Your network is really your asset. Okay. So, we can have so many possessions and all this stuff, but At the end of the day, it's your network. You think about it. If you saw something for sale at a store, you get on the phone and call your friend, girl, you better go over there before they only had four left. We can always influence each other in ways that, we really don't understand how valuable that can be. And so, one of the things about your network is learning how to expand it and connect it with others to help you grow. Because, in my case, I was doing a lot of this growth at the expense of my health. I was the one stressed out. I was the one not getting any sleep, burning the candle at both ends. So, we want to share practical tips, and the acronym for that is theory into practice. We can learn all these different things and talk about how it is, but if we're not practicing it, we're not going to change and move the needle forward. So, one of the ways that we can all grow and learn from this whole month and this collaboration is to find ways that we can practically do things in our daily routine that can help everybody win. So, for example, we can share women's trivia, right? So, this is a historical fact about the first woman and the only woman to win two Nobel Peace Prizes, right? So we can share some of this information, right, this month in honor of Women's History Month. We can get testimonials, right? We can give those out. We can spotlight people that have worked with us. Maybe they had experience with us somewhere. This is a great opportunity not only to promote them, but also to show what we're doing ourselves. We can make introductions. A lot of these things happen behind the scenes and nobody knows what we're doing until we actually make it known for other people and doing that with intention and strategically. The other thing is to share posts. That's the easiest thing. Maybe you feel like I don't post a lot. Rarely on LinkedIn. We'll just share people's posts. Make a comment. Oh, I really like their events when I can make it or whatever. Or a key takeaway that you learned. That's an easy way for people to come to you as a resource and say, I don't really do a lot, but I know that Tanya, she knows a lot of people. She's always posting about this or that. So they will come to you as a resource. And this is another thing that you can possibly create for other people is an event calendar, right? Who in your network is doing different things because people are always looking for audiences that they can grow, that they can connect with, and that they can continue to build their business. You can also share thoughts and questions as posts. So, hey, does anybody have a strategy on how I can build my LinkedIn with posting? Or I don't like to post, how can I do it with video or reels or whatever, right? You can just make a poll and then that's a post. Zoom collaborations. So I do want to highlight this collaboration that we're doing here with She Wins March is an opportunity for everybody to come, regardless of your industry, male and female. We are curating a network of people that we can learn to collaborate with in order to move forward, not just in March, but beyond. So that concludes our quick intro. And this is today's panel. Some of them have had some challenges that come up, which, life happens, so they're not going to join us. So the rest of us will be holding it down. So we have Coach Carrie and we have Tanya Iverson. And today's conversation is around health. So whether that's your physical health, your mental health, things of that nature. So before we get into our conversation, which is three questions that we're going to work to answer, we are going to start with introductions. So we'll start with you, Coach Carrie, and then we'll go to you, Tanya.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Coach Carrie. I am a keynote speaker, a financial coach. I specialize in retirement clarity for school district employees and entrepreneurs. And I most recently added to my repertoire that I am an engagement and visibility coach, helping people who are on social media platforms to get on other social media platforms. In less than 30 days, I was invited to be a guest speaker over 20 times, and so I show people how to do that as well. Glad to be
Awesome.
here.
Awesome. All right. And over to you, Tanya.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. I am Tanya Iverson. I am the founder and CEO of Your Personal Best Fitness. I'm a health and fitness coach primarily for women over 40, and I just help women over 40 lose weight, build muscle, eat better so that she can have the body and life of her dreams. I've been doing it for 15 years. And I primarily work with busy moms, busy women, because I am a busy mom, entrepreneur, and I know what it's like to put yourself last and have to do everything for everybody, and then you get left on the back burner. So I help busy moms just come up with very simple strategies to just be the best that they can be as far as their health and fitness. I train women and coach women online, in person, and I've been, like I said, I've been doing it for 15 years, and it's a passion of mine just to help women best self. So happy to be here.
Glad for you guys to be here. All right. So I don't have my questions in front of me. And when you're recording, it doesn't let you minimize and all this other stuff. So you guys have the questions. Did you guys both get the copy of the questions? Okay. So did you not get the questions, Tanya? Okay. So Coach Carrie is gonna help us with facilitating because she got the questions, I think, for today. Did you get them, Coach Carrie? Okay. So we're going to give her a minute to get the questions. And while we're waiting on her, you got to always be ready. See, chaos happens and you just have to roll with it, okay? So we're going to allow Deborah the opportunity to introduce herself, and then we'll go over to Haley. And our other guest, she is kind of back and forth with two different meetings. So if she's able to speak, she can unmic, but we'll go over to you, Deborah. So glad for you to
Oh,
join us today.
thank you so much for the beautiful invitation to be here. I'm Deborah Jackson, affectionately known as Divinely Deborah, and I am very passionate about the wellness and beauty space, empowerment of women. And in my journey, I have worked in coaching, business development, both corporate and building my own businesses. I call it living in the trenches, building from zero to wherever the milestone was, usually multi-million dollar businesses. I'm a connector. I love to empower people to take care of their health,
Mhm.
to work on their vitality from stem to stern, if you will. It's not just about what we put in our body, it's who we associate with, it's how we think, our mindsets, and how we reset ourselves when we go to bed and when we get up in the morning. And so I just really love people, love to connect, and just really being in the right rooms with the right women. And I just felt called today to be here.
Oh, well, we're so glad that you joined us, and you sound like you have a wealth of wisdom that you could definitely participate in today's conversation. So we're glad that you had time to join.
Thank
S-
you.
so let's go over to you, Haley. Good morning. How are you today? Okay, Haley may not be able to speak at the time, so that's fine. We do have the questions, so we're going to start off with the first one. Have you overcome any health challenges or setbacks in the past, and how did you navigate through them? Okay, so we're coming from financial health, emotional health, mental health, physical health, any capacity. So, Carrie, we'll start with you.
Okay, well, I want to start really by naming something that doesn't really get talked about enough in wellness spaces,
Hmm.
and that is that financial stress is really one of the most invisible health challenges that people carry. So we talk about sleep, we talk about nutrition, we talk about mental health, But money stress, ooh, people suffer through it on their own usually, often because there's this shame that's attached to it,
Mm.
or because we've been told that it's separate from our real health. But it's not. And so today I'm hoping to change that conversation.
I love that. So, and I totally resonate with a lot of people who feel like, um, instead of even being able to feel confident to say, you know what, I was never taught this, I didn't learn this. We have this idea that we should know it, right? And
Hmm.
so we have this false pretense that we show about things, and we end up causing more damage than if we just simply paused or did research and find out how we can change the narrative on that. So I totally agree with that. So what about you, Tanya? Have you overcome any health challenges or setbacks in the past, and how did you navigate through them?
Well, I can totally relate to what Coach Carey said as far as like that financial stress. I've been there. And I
Hmm.
think it's true that there's a lot of shame attached to that. It's like if you're struggling, then you don't want people to know. And I think it's because a lot of us are, like you said, are not taught, how to navigate, financial situations. So I've been through that, and I wanted to piggyback on that. But as far as just like physical health, for me, I guess a challenge that I faced many, many years ago after having kids, I just was in a place where I didn't feel good about myself. I was overweight, I was unhealthy, and I really didn't know what to do. And so what I did was I got help. I hired a trainer, and it really taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about myself. It taught me the strength that I really had within myself that I didn't realize was there. And it just helped me to that trainer, that coach that I had helped me to just like navigate how to work out at the gym because I was very intimidated by gyms. And I think a lot of women are because I work with women every day that absolutely hate gyms. And so I was able to learn how to, work and navigate through that. I learned so much about nutrition and the things to eat to help me to have energy, to help me to lose weight, to help me to feel better. And so once I started feeling better about myself physically and started feeling better, I started feeling better mentally. So there was a mental piece, an emotional piece that was attached to that. So as a result of that, it just helped me to become hooked on fitness and health. And so it made me want to help other women. So that was one of the challenges that I faced personally, and it just made me want to help other people with that.
I love that. Now, there's a lot of women that go into this whole idea that you lose yourself. It's all about the kids and all about everybody else being served first. And, we do go through, well, at least I went through that. So, there's some that maybe they don't go through this identity crisis where they really kind of lose sight of who they are. I don't think anybody raises their hand and say, I want to be in a place where I lose myself, I gain extra pounds, and, I don't like myself, or I, am unhappy in my situation. So, what was it that really changed the narrative for you that had you thinking, this is just something that I just don't want anymore? How did you break out of that rhythm that you might have been stuck in?
For me, or you
Yeah.
just yeah, I think for me, prior to that, I kind of had the ignorant belief that because I wasn't overweight or whatever, I didn't need to work out, do anything. So for many, many years of my life, I didn't do anything. I didn't do any of that kind of stuff. I didn't really watch what I ate because I didn't felt like I needed to. But it changed when you have children, it changes everything. Your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, it changes everything. And so that was just kind of like a slap in the face for me. And I felt different. I absolutely loved being a mother. I was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years, but I kind of lost like who I was and how I felt. And I didn't know what to do. And I had to just kind of step back and say, okay, I need help because I
Mhm.
don't, I don't know what I'm doing. And so I had a really, really competent trainer that just helped me like just kind of figure it out. And so, and upon, figuring all that out, I just started, like I said, feeling better mentally and emotionally. And And I realized that like how I felt before, that belief was just very ignorant, because now I know that as long as I can continue to work on my physical health, it's naturally going to help with my mental health as well. So,
Well, thank you so much for that. And then, Coach Carey, for you, what was your mindset shift? When was that point where you're just like, this is it, I got to do something different?
Well, my financial stress really was not recognizing that this uncertainty kind of lives in the body. Like it's financial stress, but I wasn't sleeping well. I was in this constant, like low grade state of anxiety. My decisions that I was making were based on fear instead of clarity. And what really helped me was to start talking to wealthy people and really understanding money. And when I started to understand that there are codes that are specifically designed to help us, like a lot of people get apprehensive if they have to file bankruptcy. Well, wealthy people, they love a good bankruptcy, right? Because it helps them to prevent losing the assets that they've worked so hard to build up. They take that money while they're in the bankruptcy state and they pay off other bills or they invest that money into the stock market. And then when the bankruptcy ends, not only do they have more money, but they still have all of their assets. We're taught to be that bankruptcy is something to be ashamed about. And so when you're having conversations with people who are in different tax brackets and different zip codes, it really, really helps out. So that's really what helped me to understand that I wasn't just navigating through a budget or through a plan or living paycheck to paycheck, having conversations with people that lived in different spaces mentally, emotionally, and financially really just gave me permission to stop pretending that I wasn't being affected. Because a lot of times we walk around as if nothing is wrong. We carry that shame secretly, and it comes out in frustration and stress and anxiety and anger and sometimes hostility. And so that's when it shifted for me when I realized that it wasn't about do I have more money, it's do I have more honesty.
That was good. And I think again, I go back to the teaching aspect, because I learned a lot when I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Even the whole idea of knowing the difference between a liability and an asset, because you can be programmed to believe certain things are going to add to your wealth and make you seem more wealthy or successful until you really know the truth behind what is actually making money for you or is depleting, in its value the minute that you get it at home, right? So appreciate that insight. And if you guys have any comments, feel free to put them in the chat. So then when we have the open discussion, we won't forget any of these points. Okay, so the second question is, how do you prioritize self-care in your daily routine, and what practices help you maintain your physical and mental health? So we'll go to you, Tanya, for this one first.
for me, I think it's about starting my day with self-care. For me, it's typically a workout. And that workout doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be an hour. It could be 20 minutes. It can be 30 minutes. It can be 15. But just getting that movement in, I think is super important. It just sets the tone for your day. And so for me, that's part of my self-care routine. Also for me, I'm all about, I love a good nap, a good power nap as well, right? And that could, again, that could be 10 minutes, that could be 15 minutes. But sometimes, you just need to just sit down and close your eyes and rest so that you can go about the rest of your day. So I'm all about, taking power naps, getting that movement in. And just take it, even if it's just a couple minutes. And that's what I tell my clients. It's like it doesn't have to be this hour 2 hour thing that you feel like you have to do. If you're tired, sit down for 10 to 15 minutes, because it's going to help you feel better. It's going to help you get through the rest of your day. And then again, movement is just so important. Even if it's a walk, you're doing some body weight exercises, or if you go to the gym, whatever your preference is, get that movement in. It's like make an appointment with yourself. You know, just like we keep all the other appointments that we have, getting our nails and hair and all that kind of stuff done, make an appointment with yourself, even if it's a couple of minutes every day, because it's about consistency. So that's what I do.
Love that. Love that. All right, Coach Carey, what is your how do you prioritize self-care in your daily
Well,
routine?
how do you follow Tanya,
I know.
right? Because she says she wake up exercising. So I wake up meditating while
Amen.
I'm still in bed. I
Mm,
wake up and the first thing I say every morning when I wake up is, I made it. I'm so grateful to be here because I
amen.
know that somebody did not wake up. But I also had to redefine what self-care meant for me. And I love how Tanya reframed that as an appointment with yourself. Go ahead, girl. Because a lot of times, for a long time, I thought self-care was the bubble baths and the spa days and getting my
Mhm.
hair and my nails done. And you all know I have nothing against any of those things, right? The self-care practice that really changed everything for me was a weekly money check-in. So every week
Mm.
I sit down and I look at the numbers. I check in with my financial reality, okay? Not my imagination. And I know that it might not sound like wellness, but clarity with money really is a form of self-respect.
Yeah.
And I think that's the foundation for every other self-care practice. Because if you want to get your nails done, you want to get your hair done, you want to go to the gym, those cost money and they should be a part of your budget. So when I know where I stand financially, then I'm able to make better financial choices. I sleep better. I'm more present in my relationships. My energy is better. So everything is really connected. So move your body, rest well. I am also a lover of naps. Nourish yourself, right? But also know your numbers. That belongs on the self-care list as well.
I love that. That is so true because you said something about reality. What was that phrase you said? About
You
reality?
know, I can't go back and say it. You're gonna have to watch the tape. I don't know what I said. I just be talking. I,
I love
I
it. I
know,
love it in the
but
moment.
I think I said something about your imagination because a lot of people
Right.
do meditations, they do affirmations, and that's great. I do those. I believe
Hmm.
in I am statements. Like I am a person who earns $100,000 of monthly income. That's the
Hmm.
affirmation, and when you say it, it happens. The statement and the reality occur at the same time. But you
Mm.
have to also, you can't just stay in your imagination. You also have to be in reality as well when it comes to your money.
I love that. Knowing your numbers. I think so many people, that just makes even more stress because you don't know your numbers. And then everything turns into a major stress. If something happens, it's like, oh my gosh, the earth is gonna cave in or something. Whereas if you know your numbers, you can plan and set aside. A lot of these things they come every month. So it's like, why are we stressing out about it? Without having a plan so that we can be in a place where we can have peace for each of these things. So appreciate that. So our last question is, what are some of your current health and wellness goals and what motivates you to achieve them? So we'll start with you, Tanya.
My current health and wellness goals. For me, I think it's all about maintaining. I really want to maintain the routine that I have. I can always do better. I think we can all do better. But the biggest thing is about consistency. Staying consistent with the routine that I have. Trying to work out, 3, 4 days a week, sometimes five if possible. Making sure that, I'm eating as clean as possible, like 80, 90% of the time. Making sure that I'm getting my water, making sure that I'm getting those naps and making sure that I'm sleeping. Um, and just making sure that I'm maintaining my mental health, keeping that peace. I've learned to, um, we have to keep our peace and to sometimes we have to put people out of our lives that don't bring us peace.
Hmm.
And sometimes that's difficult because sometimes those people are people that are very close to us. Um, but you have to protect your peace. And I'm really learning that a lot these days. So that's part of it. I want to have peace because it's so important. I'm not trying to send myself to an early grave because I'm worried about your stuff or what you
Mhm.
think is going on or whatever. So I think that's super important. But for me, it's just about consistency, just really trying to be as consistent as possible. And then, at the same time, having a treat or two, because I don't believe in depriving yourself of the things that you love or the things that we call quote unquote bad. So I think that's also key too.
Mhm. Love that. Okay, that's good. All right, what about you, Coach Carrie?
Well, my goals have changed really since I joined this call. So, goal number one is get in touch with Tanya, okay? So she can help me on my fitness journey. But honestly, my goal right now is integration. And I
Mhm.
really mean that in like every single sense of the word. I want my physical health.
Mhm.
Cachet is laughing at me. I want my physical health, my emotional health, my financial health. I want those all moving in the same direction at the same time. A
Mhm.
lot of times people are like, oh, as soon as this happens, I'm going to start working out. Or as soon as this happens, I'm going to start taking care of my money. Or as soon as this happens, I'm going to talk to a therapist. No, you can do those things simultaneously because I've learned, and sometimes the hard way, that you can be disciplined in one area and you can be
Mhm.
completely depleted in another area. And then eventually, they all catch up to each other where now I'm depleted in all areas. So
Mhm.
what really motivates me honestly is conversations like this. Women who are sitting exactly where I used to sit. I realized when I was doing my client avatar, they call it now, for the people that I wanted to work with in the financial space, that I was that client. And
Mhm.
that's really why my financial business is so successful because I realized that I was looking for people like me, people who were doing everything that society told us to do, yet we were still struggling financially, still struggling emotionally, still struggling physically because there's just not enough hours in the day to do everything that we needed to do. But I realized that we need to learn how to budget and not just budget your money, but also budget our time. And right now, my calendar is my boss. My workout times is on my calendar. My time to meet with myself about my money is on my calendar. My time for meditation. I even have nap time on my calendar. Please believe it.
I
Please
know
believe
that's
it.
right.
Nap time is on my calendar because we sit in spaces where we're overwhelmed. We don't feel like we have other people to talk to. You look on social media and everybody presents like everything is fantastic and we're doing everything right. It appears on the outside, but on the inside, emotionally, physically, and financially, we really feel and are often unstable. So I would want people to know you can't just separate financial wellness from physical
Mhm.
and emotional wellness because they rise together or they struggle together. So
Mhm.
I try to show up because this conversation is extremely important.
I love what you're saying because, it's just even you can use the analogy of a business. You can get all the clients in the world, but if you can't serve them, okay, you're not going anywhere. And so there's a lot of moving parts to that. It is, if you have a product, then you might have a vendor or a manufacturer that you have to depend on. And so it's a lot of different moving parts to that. And I think that's why this conversation is so important because we do kind of feel like, oh, you know what? I'll take care of myself later. As long as I get to work on time, I get this project in and I do this and that, I can put myself on the back burner and get to it later, but it's not that type of situation. We have to learn same thing. Oh, I can get enough sleep, but you have to move your body. You could sleep right, but if you don't have any movement, you really can start adding on pounds or, having all kind of other problems because you're not moving in the right direction. So appreciate that. So we do want to open it up for our guests and attendees to share some of their thoughts and any questions that they might have for our panel as we wind this down. I tell you, an hour just isn't enough time. So, does anybody have a question or a comment that they want to start out with?
I'd love to speak to the group in the conversation. I think it's a really interesting vantage points, and I totally align with Carrie in that life is an indivisible whole. We need to have our awareness on all arenas of our lives. I think it's important to for health to be able to cut ourselves some slack to when we are looking at things. It's sort of like, not pushing ourselves to a place where we're in a pressure if we don't have the emotional bandwidth or our nervous system has been under, extreme weather through pushing with our business and being in that building stage. I think, one thing that is really important, and I have visited this season of my life where I've made a move and gone through a divorce and or going through a divorce is stability, more sustainability, looking at my finances through, what do I do to sustain this as opposed to scale this?
Mhm.
Asking myself better questions, cutting myself some slack. How do I, like Tanya says, go for a walk, keep that consistent? How do I fill my own cup
Mhm.
so that I'm at a place where my cup is overflowing, that I can give to the right people in my life? But first, to be able to take care of myself through gifting myself with good rest and the proper type of modalities that
Mhm.
fill my own cup up first so that I
Mhm.
can show up and be more vital for others, but
Mhm.
first for myself.
I love that, and that whole piece around just being able to navigate that, when we think about nobody raised their hand and says, I want to be stressed out. I want to have all this chaos. You just don't sign up for that, but it is something that is out of your control. And I think when we learn to understand the things that trigger us and that we can control, then boundaries don't get to be so hard to set up. We go through all the ups and downs, twists and turns of life sometimes because we just don't have boundaries. We just are saying yes to everything when sometimes we should say no, or saying no when we should say yes. So it's a number of things that really can get us in the spiral of being in a place of just going along with things because we thought that's what we should be doing. At least that was a lot with my story. So really appreciate everyone sharing around, it is a lot that you have to navigate. And I tell people all the time because they're like, well, how do you keep it balanced with 15 kids and all the stuff you do? And it's like, there is no balance. I think about a seesaw.
Mhm.
If it's in balance, nobody's moving and going anywhere. You're just sitting there, standing still, idle. But if you are moving on the seesaw, it's up and down. It is really being engaged in different things. And so there's a harmony, it's like having, being a part of a choir. Not everybody has the same uh, tenor, right? You have altos, sopranos, they all sing in different keys, but they make a harmonious song. And so it's about being able to navigate through that with life. Because, some days you might have 4 hours of sleep. Some days you might have 10. I mean, we would like to keep it in a reasonable amount on a regular basis, but sometimes you have those days when things can get kind of crazy, but it doesn't have to knock you off your square. So appreciate that. Does anybody else have anything they want to add to what was just said? Okay,
I'll jump in. I just want to say, first I want to say thank you to Carrie for inviting me.
mm-hmm,
Good looking out, and yeah, I really appreciate this perspective of let's talk about health from the business person's perspective. I think one of the biggest things that just in general, continues to get overlooked that people are talking about now is also how those other things influence how you approach your work life as well, right? So
Mhm.
having the 15, that's why people are like, how you have 15 kids and you do this? It's like, well, if you not that now I'm not having 15 kids, that's a lot. Okay. So I'm not gonna diminish that. And it seems as if, right, regardless, you still had to find a way, whether you were going to
Mhm.
work or not, to take care of yourself as you are also responsible for 15 other souls. And
Mhm.
so I think that's how I look at it. And so I think when we take those things into perspective, that not to antiquate it, but anything truly is possible.
Mhm.
And if you're not here, you can't help anyone. So taking care of all of your health needs, whether it be financially, spiritually, emotionally, relationally, is imperative. So yeah, if y'all ever need another panelist, you let me know. I'm over
Oh,
here as well. And but I really appreciate every perspective that I heard today. So thank you all for sharing your stories.
all right. Well, we definitely will call you up. Okay. So you have your contact information in the chat, and I'll definitely reach out to you, because I feel like it really takes a village. So, I was an only child, so I got used to doing a lot of things by myself. And after my last hospitalization, I was praying one day, and God says, so you believe that Jesus died on the cross for everybody, to save everybody, and he had 12 disciples. So what makes you think you could do it by yourself? So, that was a very humbling conversation. And I have totally changed my mindset about collaboration because I think, there's so many platforms, places, and people that I would have never met if I was trying to do it on my own. Why? Because I probably would have been asleep or not even present to be able to see the person that was in front of me. We can be physically somewhere, but be mentally somewhere else. And so I think back on a lot of opportunities that I missed out, and it may not been somebody saying anything to me. It was me saying it to myself, right? I'm in this whole conversation thinking about things that they're going to say or that they believe and hadn't even talked to the person in front of me. So, appreciate you sharing that because I think when we have real conversations, we can have real change. Everybody can come and have a good time and, yeah, that was great, post about it, but then go back to the same life, right? And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people to win. So, appreciate your input. And thanks for coming. So does anybody else have anything they want to ask or
A little
add?
bit, if you can hear me.
Yes,
Hi,
we can
everyone.
hear you. Hey,
All
Layla.
right, wonderful, Pana. It's like it was 8 for Layla, so I'm trying to fix myself so I look decent on camera. It's still early in Vancouver time, okay? In Canada. And that's like part of self-care, having enough sleeping hours to be able to function well.
Yes.
I just like how everybody from the panel brought something, and then when you look at it in the audience, I'm looking at it as holistic approach of so many components of how self-care comes in different forms for everybody.
Hmm.
And it's not just one thing, it's multiple things at the same time. And the financials, the self-care, yes, getting your hair done and your nails, it does make you feel good. It's a moment for quietness and your finance and your health and your food, right? And something that we've talked about. And I just and then you don't have to do it alone. I have no kids and I don't know how you do it, and I have challenges balancing basic things here. So that's very inspiring. I'm thinking myself when I'm going to be a mom. I think I have some already a support system that people to give me some guidance because I'm not sure that I can do it. So
Yeah.
I would say everybody was just phenomenal, and yeah, it was wonderful to listen to all of you. Really great conversation. I loved it. So.
Well, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate that. I have one question that I would ask everybody is, how do you start the transformation of your daily routine? So like, in a lot of cases, I know for myself, one major thing was I stopped watching the news. I haven't watched the news really in like 10 years. Um, I see clips that come up on social media or, my kids are the news for me, but one thing about it is when they tell me the news, I'm in a different state of mind. So I ask questions about what they tell me, whereas before I would just consume it like it was all factual. I wasn't even in the headspace. to even think of a question to ask or filter the information. So now it's different. But that was a major thing that I did that stopped the chaos in my life, and it helped me to regularly have peace because I was controlling the narrative of things that I heard. So, for everybody else, what is a way that you would share with someone that they can start the process of transforming their daily routine if they're finding that, it's problematic? There's some things that they should change.
Well, I would start with a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. That is really a great book to figure out where you are, where you want to go, and how to get there.
Hmm.
For instance, he talks about with your health and fitness, depending on the space that you're in, if it's a really dark space, you may just lay your clothes out for the gym. That's it. You might get back in the bed, right after that. You're not going to the gym, you're not working out yet, but just getting your clothes out, 3 to 4 days. And then you go into where you actually put your workout clothes on, and then you take them back off. You put your workout clothes on. So making those small steps, and it's the same way you do when you're budgeting your money financially. You start with small steps. I have a free video that I send to people. It's a 5-minute video that talks about how to budget. So I think if people can start with small steps, don't feel like you have to do, Tanya said it earlier, you don't have to start with 45 minutes or an hour at the gym. Maybe you just walk around the block in your neighborhood. Maybe that feels overwhelming for you, especially since the pandemic and people going outside. Maybe you just walk back and forth in your house.
Hmm.
Maybe if you have 2 levels, you go up and down the stairs. But doing small things actually compound over time. It's the same way with investing your money. You start with $5 a month, $10 a month, but that money is going to compound and grow. It's actually what Albert Einstein calls the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. And so
Hmm.
it's not just applicable to money, it's applicable to life in general.
Mm.
That was awesome. Love that. Anybody else want to share a way that they transform their daily habits?
I would love to
I could,
share.
oh,
Oh, go ahead.
no, please go ahead first. I'll
Oh,
jump in after you.
I think it's really important to start the day with gratitude, to be grateful for another day, for waking up, for the opportunity to show up and serve, to be aware, do a little forensic analysis of your energy, what you have on for your day, and what your how your cup can fill another person's cup, but not too many people's cup. So if more designing that life as opposed to being on the treadmill of life, I think we need to lessen the projection on ourselves as to how we need to show up. Many of us are mature now. We've had multiple careers. Maybe we're looking at our careers from a different vantage point, and we're crafting a legacy career now. And so how could we give value to others? Who could we have a mutually equitable, energetic exchange with, where we walk away with our cup being full as well, without having an idea of what that conversation could be about, or what that meeting where it could lead. Like today, me coming here was very organic. I felt led and called. I spoke with Carrie yesterday, and um, Lachelle, we've met, and I feel called to speak with other women who have had rich, real experiences, and they're learning from those experiences to pivot and to utilize that lesson in life to be able to bring value to another woman's life.
Mm.
Uh, and so I think those are things that I think we think about when we go into our day. How can we bring value? Who needs me? Maybe another woman out there needs you, where you could just bring value to their lives without expecting anything back in return. I always believe that how we pour into others is always a gift back to ourselves.
Love that. That was awesome. I love that. Gratitude really makes a difference. It just puts you on a different frequency,
Mm,
so I really, really appreciate that share. All right.
thank you.
So that was you, Cache, that had something to share?
It was. I'll just
Okay.
be really quick because I
Oh,
know
go
it's
ahead.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when you said that you don't listen to news anymore, and I caught the time frame, I think we got off the news at the same time. I deleted all my news apps from the phone and everything in 2016. But one thing that has become huge for me as of late in this new iteration, speaking of also what you were just mentioning, Deborah, new iteration of my life is
Mm-hmm.
transitions. And so I actually transition into and out of workday. And sometimes that is like, well, it's always like shower is one thing. So literally washing off the day. And then I'm also, I know folks believe in different things, but I'm hugely into ancestral work. And so I actually have an altar and I do altar work before, at the end of every night. And I do, and that is a huge part of my transition as well because I serve all day long. Sometimes it feels like I'm serving even in my sleep, and it's not just about work or clients. It's also your family, the people you live with,
Mm-hmm.
your 15 children, my fur baby who I'm out walking right now, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
that's also making sure I get walks in with him. So I have those little things throughout the day, but something I have really, really recognized as crucial for my mental health is those transitions into my work and out of, so that I don't feel like I'm continuously feeding everything into the next thing.
Love that. That really is good. And we notice a lot of those routines. But we never really put a name on it or label, but then when something happens and we feel a little off, we can go back and reflect, you know what, I didn't do this normal routine that I normally do as a way of grounding myself and getting myself ready for the next thing. So really appreciate that. So we've had some people join us throughout the presentation. Feel free to put your contact information in the chat, you guys, no matter how long you've been here. This is something that we're doing every week in March, same time. Next week, we're going to be focusing on parenting and career. But we are working to have real, honest dialogues just to get the conversation started for women and finding ways that, we can collaborate on these things. So Layla and I had a coffee chat last week, and then we were very moved by the topic of burnout. And so we just ended up having a live on it on Substack. So, there could be a number of collaborations that can happen as a result of us having these conversations. And it is not about competition, because I've learned that there are more than one hamburger place, okay, around town. And a lot of them have the same hamburger place on every corner, right? If you have a McDonald's, you might see one 5 minutes from the next one and then another one 5 minutes away because it's about serving people and understanding that we're not going to always be the answer for everybody, right? There are a lot of people that can serve and can help with whatever the need is. So there's room for everybody. So I want to give everyone an opportunity to kind of share a final thought or tip um, when it comes to health. And I know even the ones that came in later, I believe nothing is by accident. You came right on time. Whatever you had going on, it got you here when you were supposed to get here. But any kind of tip that you would like to close with, and then we'll give our panelists an opportunity to share where you can connect with them and if they have anything coming up this week. So we'll start with you, Deborah. Any final thoughts and, um, who you want to be connected to and things of that nature?
Oh, absolutely. I've enjoyed the collective conversation and thank you for providing a safe space. I think that's a really key word for me is safe space when we have, been through life and, we've been wounded and I know a bit of your story, Lachelle, and it's part of the reason I'm really attracted to you is the relatability of having that safe place to be able to come and share real conversations and be seen and be vulnerable because you are safe and you are in a trusted environment. The one thing that I would say is, cut yourself some slack when it comes to health. Be curious, be open, and flexibility is the cornerstone of health.
Oh, love that. That's a good one. All right. Okay, so Cache, what is your takeaway, final thought, anything you have coming up or anything?
This is something that rests with me all the time, and you emphasize it today, and that is do not have to do it alone.
Hmm.
I know so many of us, especially as folks who are socialized as girls or women in society, just really have that belief that if I do it myself, I'll do it quick and I'll do it right.
Hmm.
But again, we go further if we go together. So you don't have to do it alone. That's what I'll say.
Love that. Well, thanks so much for coming. We appreciate you being here. And Josette, so please feel free to introduce yourself and then share any tip or final thought, anybody you want to connect with. The floor is yours. Thanks for coming.
Hi everybody. I'm sorry my camera is not working at the moment.
That's
I'm not a mom, but I do admire you all for being moms. To me, this is the hardest job in the whole universe and the most respectable one. So I'm mostly here to support and to connect and to learn from you all.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you taking the time. So
Thank you.
awesome. All right. So, Zakia, please introduce yourself and then share any tip or, what do you have coming up?
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are listening from. But hello, I'm Zakia Ringgold. I shared my tip in the chat.
Okay.
And that was really about making sure that you're making time for your annual checkups. I know we get really busy as small business owners, moms, corporate, whatever working, and we often forget those really important things. And I am now a colon cancer survivor due to that early detection. So, and I was too young for them to even be testing for it. So, I need you all to take your health very, very seriously. I know it's always, I can do it later, maybe later, I'll schedule it later. Make now the time that if you haven't scheduled your checkup, that you go ahead and do that. It's very important.
Love that. Well, thank you so much. I had no idea. That's just a blessing. I have one of my um partners, she is a pancreatic cancer survivor. So it's been 8 years that she is cancer free, but she was given a 9% chance to live 8 years ago, and she's still here. So, these stories, we just have to share them because a lot of people just go right on suffering in silence, or we just, when we don't know ourselves, we don't even know what is causing some of the symptoms. And then we just think, oh, I'll just go to sleep and deal with it tomorrow. But when we know ourselves, we can definitely tune in and say, you know what, I'm not feeling right. This has been going on for a couple days now, and we can do something about it because we're clear and intentional about the things that we do. So appreciate you sharing that. All right. So, Layla, um, any final thoughts? What's coming up for you? I don't know. She put something in the chat. Okay. So we'll go over to Tanya. What are your final thoughts and things you have coming up? People you want to connect with?
So my final to start now. Don't wait. Whether that's your health and fitness journey, your mental health journey, your financial journey. We talked about a lot of different health aspects. And I would say Don't wait, like start now, even if it's small, even if it's messy, like don't wait because none of us are promised tomorrow. So, don't wait and we don't want to have regrets. So that would be my thought. And also to don't be afraid to ask for help. I know a couple people have said that we're stronger together, we need each other, we need that tribe. So, don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it in any area of your life. There's no shame to it. And sometimes people are waiting for us to ask for help, because we're all, most of us are in the service industry. We
Mhm.
serve people, and we're blessed tenfold when we help and we serve. Excuse me. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And for me, I put my information in the chat. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I've got some freebies if you're just kind of struggling with workouts. I've got a free Busy Mom workout guide that's 3 day-a-week workouts. If you want those, they're free. They've got video demonstrations. If you're kind of struggling with what to do, please check that out. And then I've also got a group program, an online group program coming up the end of this month. If you want more information about that, just reach out to me. But it's been a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you so much for joining. And
Thank you for
we
having me.
just got together through a Lineable, guys. So, you have these conversations and it's like, hey, let's keep it moving. So, Coach Carrie, we're over to you. Your final thoughts, what you got coming up? I know you got a lot. It's hard to keep
Right.
up. I gotta take
It's
a nap after seeing what you got going on, girl. I'm like, look, she's got this. I'm going to sleep.
I that is so funny because again I always say that you want to make sure that your cup is full. A lot of us try and give from empty spaces. I
Mhm.
always encourage people to put yourself in position to have your cup filled because the giving is honestly supposed to come from the overflow. So I just want to close with this that I really believe that health is not one thing. It's everything that we talked about today. It's not just your one doctor's visit. It's not just one workout. It's not like one green smoothie, even though I need a green smoothie right now. It's really, I think the word Layla used was holistic. It's the full picture of how we're living. So that's physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually. So whatever brought people into this conversation today, just know that your whole health matters and you have resources available. You have the free workout resources from Tanya. You have free budgeting resources from me. So there's so much information that's available. Just give yourself permission to look at all of it because that's really where the healing begins. What I have coming up is a plethora of things. But in brief, I do a show on Sundays at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, called Clarity from the Heart. Because I really believe that money matters, our mindset matters. And so I really focus on that clarity, that mental clarity that heals us so that we are able to work better with our finances. So Clarity from the Heart is on Sundays. And I just not launched a new show, which is already booked through June. I have one space available on the 21st, but other than that, the show is booked all the way through June. On Saturdays at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. And that show is called Carrie Connects. So I've been having coffee chats. I know Layla has cocoa chats, but what we do is we meet with people with intention to find out what people are doing, what do people offer, so that we can share that with our network because they used to say that we're 6 degrees of separation and I
Mhm.
believe with technology it's less than that. I believe you're 1 to 2 degrees of separation. So people are looking for food, people are looking for health resources, people are looking to heal themselves from the inside out, people are looking for people with businesses, people are looking for people that want loans and grants, and people are looking for grants, all right? And so I really just want to be able to expand everybody's network. So my coffee chats have expanded into the show Carrie Connects, and that'll be launching this Saturday, 2 p.m. Central. And I was just looking at my calendar. Like these are the like from yesterday. book through June. And so I'm just super excited that people have stories that they want to share. It doesn't have to be all about business. It can also be sharing your story about resiliency. So
Mhm.
my handle, I'll put in the chat again, is at Great Finances. So that's GR, the number eight, the word finances, FINANCES. And that's me on all platforms, whether you go to LinkedIn, TikTok, Substack, Instagram, Twitch. I don't know how to use all the platforms, but I'm on all the platforms, TikTok. So reach out and DM me on LinkedIn if you want the free resources or whatever your preferred platform is. I think it's just important that people have that information. And thank you for having me. And thank you all for being here. The tribe showed up. And so Cache is part of the tribe. And so I'm glad that they showed up today. I'm so grateful that Josette showed up today. Zakia showed up. I just met Divinely Deborah yesterday and she showed up. And then thank you to Bill Rochelle for showing up. And, thank you for having me as a guest on your show. It was an honor to share the stage with Tanya. And of course, America's Supermom, Lachelle. Thank you as always.
You are so welcome. And I want to thank everybody for your time. Again, these rooms and spaces are just for us to just touch the surface. Let's continue these conversations together. Let's continue to build a tribe around these important topics. And we will be back next week, same time. And it's going to be on parenting and career. So I believe Coach Carey's on that panel again as well. I have to see
You
who
know
the
what?
other
She
guy.
listen. Now I had tried to close out real nice and professional. I'm not on these panels. She sent out a survey and she said check the boxes, and I thought she was going to choose one. Okay, now I'm on the panel next week. I'll see y'all next week. Doggone it.
I love it. I love it. Hey, you know what? See, you just get attracted to the right people. And it's really not hard. It's really not hard. You bring a lot to the table. You help a lot of people, because I think these conversations only work well when people say what people are thinking and sometimes afraid to say. So when we're able to, hey, bring it to the table, it's what other people are thinking. That's where it really helps others. So I want to thank you for always stepping up to the plate with that. Even though I feel like I've known her for years and we just met a couple weeks ago. But when you have real conversations, I think you get to know a person so much better on a deeper level. So appreciate that. Well, thank you all for coming. Remember to save the chat, connect with each other. We do have a live stream that's going on this evening. It's going to be around health as well, with the Hounds of Business. That's at 7 p.m. with Mike Asherbranner. So all of these events are designed for us to draw attention to these important topics and for us to all connect with each other on a Zoom at the end of the month. So want to thank Tanya and Coach for holding it down. We had two other panelists that were unable to make it, but I pray that you guys got a lot of great information that can help you to make some small changes that can help you moving in the right direction. So thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.